We did that wonderful intro without any voice. That was great. So we have a great show today. We have Tuskegee Airman's birthday. We're going to talk a little bit about him. We're going to talk about the holidays because the holidays are just right around the corner, just coming up this Thursday, this week. And we want you to be aware of any kind of issues to watch for your loved one, your aging loved one. And we also have some tips from Melinda Hughes. But Greg Sanchez out of Pasadena, Monrovia area, he has the Homestead Home Care Agency, and he's going to give us some of those tips to really watch out for. But tell us a little bit about your caregiver question today.
So the question today is, it's a tough one. This gentleman wrote in, he has a relative, somewhat distant relative, who passed away, and there's a will, and he's in a will, but he feels like he's not getting his fair share of the will, and thinks that this relative has promised him other things that were not in the will. So what can he do?
I think he needs an attorney. It's not something I would answer for him, but I think if he was to call my office, I would give him some referrals to an attorney who could walk through how that document was prepared, the specifics in that, if there are any clauses for contesting, and see if there's anything he might want to approach or not. But that's not something we would handle in our office, but we would definitely give you a referral for something like that. So
excellent.
Challenging for sure. And we've seen that many times, actually.
I would suspect you would in your...
Oh, yeah. And sometimes people don't deserve any more than they got. But, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they deserve a lot more. I don't know. But there are some really interesting things that take place, obviously, with money and wills, especially at the end of somebody's life. Sometimes some of those things get very twisted with somebody coming in and making changes. But today we have Dr. Greg Sanchez on, and he has a phenomenal background as an owner with the Homestead franchise over in Pasadena, and also covers Monrovia. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on, and we're going to talk a little bit about how these holidays are a little challenging and what we can do to make it better.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks. Yeah, you know what? The holiday. I mean, can you imagine Thanksgiving next week, next Thursday? It's
right on us. Yep, I know.
I haven't started shopping.
me either. I know I'm making stuffing. That's about it.
There you go.
I'm going to my sister, so I'm fortunate and thankful that she's making dinner.
There you go. Excellent. But I think that stress and all those things really kind of take our attention away from some of the major challenges that right now that our aging adult population are facing. And the holidays are a good and a bad thing, because we're so focused on one thing, but it's a time for us to get together. And it may be in our best interest to start thinking about some of the signs to look for in how your aging loved one is taking care of themselves. So, right now, especially in the holidays, for those individuals, aging loved ones who may not have family, isolation tends to be a very big issue. So if you have a neighbor who, is a little older, pop in and see how they're doing. I mean, take a look. I mean, if you're noticing that their yard isn't been kind of kept up like it usually has been, and or maybe the house isn't as tidy as it used to be, those might be some signs to consider. What are some of your suggestions too, Mary, about that isolated senior who doesn't really have family?
I love that, because I was thinking about family who are getting together and some of the signs. There's so many people who are isolated out there. And I think as a neighbor, that older couple or man or woman is there on their own. And you're right. When you stop seeing them come out, when their mail is piling up, when the yard is not manicured, and they usually did, that's a sign really to be worried. And honestly, if it's somebody that you haven't seen for a while, I would typically call the local authorities. I would call the local police and just ask for a welfare check. That's something that people can do too if you're not familiar with the person or you're concerned that you haven't seen them for quite a long time. I would hope that somebody calls sooner than quite a long time, but it does happen sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I had the neighbor once who, always decorated for the holidays, starting from Halloween into Christmas. And there was just that one year where all of a sudden the Halloween decorations weren't out. I'd poke in and see how they're doing. They were all right. They had, just lost some friends and, kind of took a dip there. So, just going in and bringing in some holiday cheer, whether that be, dropping off, a little baked good or something along those lines really kind of helps. And to your point, if you haven't seen them, notify the authorities, whether that be the police or Adult Protective Services through the Department of through LA County. That's another way of doing it. But when we have our family and we're all together and we're noticing that we go over there in preparation, or maybe we're picking grandma or grandpa up, and we kind of poke our head in to see what's going on in the fridge there, and it's disheveled and there's lots of expired things. They don't have a lot of nutritious meals there. That might be a concern. For sure. What were some of the other things that you were thinking about when a family member actually comes into the house?
Yeah, I think, again, going back to the yard, just from the exterior going in. So if you're picking somebody up, where is their mail? Have they been paying their own bills? Are they willing to sit down with you and go through some details about how they're managing their day? What does their appointment calendar look like? Have they been missing their appointments? Are they forgetting things in communication with you? Or they kind of, it's interesting because there's so many bright people, even with cognitive issues. And I think it can be, people can kind of mask what they don't know. Oh, that's right, I forgot that. Or, oh, of course, we always do that. That's just something I haven't done right away. So looking for kind of those little stalls or little explanations. And just because somebody's repeating their story a lot, that could be an issue. But it may just be a habit, or they just aren't communicating much. So they just don't have a whole lot to say other than these few favorite stories that they share. I don't know. You have gone in, and I'm sure you've done many assessments on.
Oh, absolutely. So Home Instead, actually, we're providers of non-medical in-home care. So family members will call us. Usually we see an increase, especially after the holidays, of request for care consultations. I'm sure you hear the same from your end. We go in and we do an evaluation. We determine, if care is needed or warranted, and, try to create a care plan that basically looks at safety first.
Right.
When we think about safety, it's not just about their physical safety, but their mental safety. So we want to just ensure that they have, access to nutritious food, that they're compliant with their medical provider's plan of care. They're taking their meds, things like that. And that's what we do in home care, is we remind them to take their meds. We prepare their meals. We ensure that, even if it's a 4-hour shift, we're going ahead and providing, we'll prep breakfast and maybe a lunch and a dinner. And then, at least they have the food for the rest of the day. I mean, we're really fortunate. Yeah. And we're fortunate here at Home Instead that we're able to actually, our service menu runs the gambit from a 20-minute wellness check, kind of tuck in and, rise and shine service, all the way to more elaborate 24-hour care. So if you're interested in learning more, feel free to reach out to Mary, or just Google Home Instead Pasadena.
Absolutely. Or give us your phone number too.
That would be 626-486-0800. Both the Home Instead Pasadena and Monrovia franchises have a separate number, but call one, you'll get both. So
that sounds great. The other thing I was thinking is really using your senses. So we're obviously looking to see what's not right, but another issue can be, yes, exactly. So when we have somebody who has an incontinence issue, sometimes that's because they're having a mobility issue and they're not managing themselves to the restroom quickly, or they just don't have the awareness that they're having these little spillages, accidents. Yeah. So.
And it's so true. I mean, you go in and it may not necessarily that they that the furniture may smell, but it could be just lifting up that dirty clothes hamper, and if you get a waft of urine or something like that, that might be an indication as well. So, it's definitely, those are the hard conversations to have with your loved one. Definitely don't have them at the Thanksgiving table. There's plenty going on at the Thanksgiving table.
Exactly. It's time for a not dinner conversation.
Exactly. But I think for the most part, what we need to do is be cognizant that these are some flags to look for, and don't be afraid to have that conversation with your loved one. If you're unsure, Mary's team is incredible. They can provide you with some helpful hints and tips on what to do. My team can do the same. It's really about, this is a wonderful platform for you to get educated on how to support your aging loved one, and with dignity and respect. I think that's kind of the key.
True. And I think the other thing too is just looking at it in a way that we still empower the senior. So, and I call it kind of providing commercials to somebody. So maybe right away they aren't really interested, but maybe asking an open-ended question. How are you doing with your laundry? That must be really hard. I don't like doing my laundry. Is there somebody that we can come in and do your laundry for you? Or is there something that we can do in regards to bringing some food to you? It's my vision's not as good as it used to be, and I can see that maybe yours isn't either. Let's get somebody in to clean the refrigerator out, or it's hard to make a meal for one person. So having your caregiver come in and making meals for somebody, whether they put them in the refrigerator and they're there maybe 3 times a week, or they're there every day. It just ensures that somebody's nutrition and their quality of life will be managed.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that where home care is not covered under Medicare yet. I mean, we're hoping that more of the carriers.
Looks like it's moving.
Yeah, it's moving in there. 12 hours, probably a month for some providers. But I think ultimately right now it's still private pay. But there are for low-income seniors or low-income individuals, there are opportunities out there, and working with Mary's folks or with my folks to identify those resources within the community, whether that be through Meals on Wheels or other programs through the senior center, things like that. At least you have a place to start, and it's really about having the information and making good educated decisions.
Absolutely. And you really have, I was so impressed. I actually got to meet you at the very beginning of the pandemic. Everybody was wondering, what are we going to be able to do or not do? I mean, it was such a nebulous kind of frightening thing, and we put a group of top leaders in the area together, and you were one of those leaders. And I have to say, I just really appreciated your certainty and the information that you provided, and we all kind of dug in and took different areas of whether it was well, we didn't even have vaccines then, but whether it was exposure, whether it was getting groceries, we were getting food to people, we were getting medications to people. Nobody wanted to leave. So we needed to make sure all those things happened. And we started making sure that the community was taken care of. So I really appreciated, and still do, your leadership in this area of making sure that we're safe and our community is managed well.
Oh, thank you. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, we have somebody who has a little question here too.
Oh, okay.
Looks like they want to know. Can Greg answer what kinds of things caregivers don't do in somebody's home?
Okay, so home care is a regulated industry here in the state of California. We report to the Department of Social Services. So really how we define caregiving is basically interaction. 80% of the caregiver's time with a client, they're supposed to be interacting with that client. Now that interaction could be folding laundry together, that could be preparing meals together, things like that. So caregivers are not maids. I want to emphasize that.
Yes.
They're not. We've had clients who've go outside and rearrange our garage. Well, they're not Maria Kondo, so they're not going to do that for you unless you're with them. Now, if it's a thing of let's go and I need to clean out this closet. My grandmother, who has a caregiver, she's 96, they went ahead and they started cleaning out her closet. And, it actually was a really good cognitive exercise as well, is because as we're pulling things out, she would tell stories about, the dress or the shoes or whatever it might be. So, those are the kinds of things, because it's really about that engagement, safety number one, engagement number two, and the physical, so our nutrition, our med compliance, and things like that. They can't, again, they're non-medical caregivers. So if an under the table caregiver is telling you that they can dose your mom with insulin, don't go there. They're not medical professionals in the eyes of the Department of Public Health, and we wouldn't want you to feel that they are capable of doing such things.
Yeah. We've hit on nutrition a few times too, and I was thinking that's another thing to think about when you see your loved one at Thanksgiving. How are they managing putting their plate together? You might be getting up and doing it for them, but it's always interesting to see. Sometimes when you have a cognitive issue, it might just be all of something, or a little odd combination.
Well, the other thing is also what's left on the plate. And
That's true too.
they're very
true.
If they're carb centric and they're not getting a balanced meal of proteins, starches, and fats, and you see that all they're doing is eating the mashed potatoes and then going directly to dessert, we may have an issue here, especially an individual that may have diabetes, or a history of low blood sugar or high blood sugar, or just out of control sugars. So those are some things to also look at, is what is left on the plate. I make my grandmother a plate because there's a lot on the Thanksgiving table. She's very particular, but we also ensure that there's a protein, and then there's a starch, and then there's a veg on there. And then, of course, she can have whatever pie she wants. She's 96. God bless her. Let her
exactly. Great. When I get 96, I'm going to have at least one piece of pie. But that's a great point too, as far as setting somebody's plate up and making sure that it's a balanced meal. And I think whether or not they can manage silverware, sometimes we get to a point, whether it's physically with arthritis or cognitively not understanding how to manage silverware any longer, or, I don't know. There's just so many things in regards to food, and just noticing maybe tooth pain, or they're not eating. So there are all kinds of questions that you can ask. Yeah. But I think looking at the plate is a great idea, Greg.
Oh yeah, and I think the just again, it's not this like you're putting them under the microscope at the dinner table there, but it's really just kind of at an ancillary glance, or just kind of again, we're trying to maintain dignity and respect. This is not about treating your elder loved one as a child. It's really about, honoring them for who they are. I mean, that tends to be what we see in our industry, when we're working with families, is that mom is now the daughter and the daughter is now the mom. And quite frankly, mom will complain about daughter once daughter leaves. Oh my God, she's making me do all this stuff and I don't want to.
Bossy. She's so bossy.
Exactly. So we don't want to make it an overbearing scenario, but it's just, again, keeping out for those flags, and then having that conversation and being respectful as we do it. And if you're not sure how to articulate it in that way, reach out to one of us and we'll be more than happy to guide you through that some of those challenging conversations.
That's great. That's great. Dr. Greg Sanchez of Homestead. Tell us again what your phone number is, so that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Homestead Pasadena is at 626-486-0800. Homestead Monrovia, 626-599-2310. Call either number. You'll both get the same office. They have the modern magic of modern technology. So there you go.
And feel free, either one of our offices will make sure that you get that list of items to be looking for, and rewind this little segment if you like, and share it with your family members. So.
And Mary just sent out this great newsletter that kind of points out a lot of these topics, and I think it's a great resource to keep in handy.
Yeah, we'll send it out too. So sounds great. Hang out with us if you want to come back, and we'll talk about our Tuskegee Airmen.
Sounds good.
All right. Yes, I cannot believe how incredible this Tuskegee Airman is. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring on our lovely and wonderful Melinda Hughes. So here we go. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, good. Unmuted.
Yeah, my famous muting, unmuting inabilities.
Happy Thanksgiving. That was very informative.
Wasn't it great? Yeah. And I mean, just hits right into a lot of your nutrition and some of the components of aging and getting the right things to eat.
Yeah, and I think it's really good information for people, about to go home and see their parents for the first time in a while, especially if a visit was missed during 2020. So
that was horrible. So many people not able to see their family members. Absolutely.
Yeah, it might have been more time than usual between visits. So this information is especially valuable right now. So I think that was very good.
So what do you recommend as far as the amount of carbs versus proteins and that kind of thing that we put on our plate for Thanksgiving?
Oh my gosh. Thanksgiving is one of those days where you don't think about it too much,
Sure.
Yeah, I guess 2 points to this is number one, one day is not going to derail your health.
Thank God.
One day it's more what we do consistently over a long period of time. So if we're consistently eating the right things and we're consistently giving our body, the foods that it needs to be as healthy as possible, then the outliers, the Thanksgiving days and the Christmas days aren't that big of a deal. With that though, like sometimes people, I mean, I'm guilty, stuff themselves so they're sick,
Yeah.
So the second point I like to make to people who are maybe a little bit concerned because they've been on this health kick and really taking good care of themselves and they're concerned that the holidays will derail them is just keep telling yourself that you can have as much as you want tomorrow too. You don't have to eat it all in one sitting.
Yes.
You can have just what you need right now to celebrate and have a normal sized meal, not seconds and thirds, and then know that you can make a plate up tomorrow, and really Thanksgiving food doesn't just have to be had at Thanksgiving. Like you can make a Thanksgiving meal pretty much any time of the year. I've done that before. You just, so I think if we take the kind of like specialness away of this is only happening one day and I'm only going to get these sweet potato yams with the marshmallows on top this one this one meal, and so I've got to eat as much of that as possible. I think we can we can have that at another meal too, so we can have those dishes in January if we want. So giving yourself permission to have those favorite foods throughout the year really makes it so that people don't essentially binge eat, for the holidays.
Oh, that's a great advice. Yeah.
Yeah. We made a little video about bone density, and I'd love to share it if people are interested. I know it's a little off topic for the holidays, but I'll share the link below this video.
Okay.
But the link is welcome.thestrengthshop.com/buildbonenow. And so we just talk about in this video training the foods, why vitamin D and calcium supplementation might not be enough to build healthy bone tissue. What are some of the lifestyle changes that you can make to build healthy bone tissue? And then obviously we talk about our exercise and how strength training can help build healthy bone tissue. So if someone is concerned about bone density, I've made a little video training resource that you can get at welcome.thestrengthshop.com/buildbonenow. And I'll share that link under this video.
And we'll make our announcement next week for our January celebration at the Strength Shop. So that'll be exciting. And so stay tuned for that date, and we'll be getting some information out on email and so on and so forth. So anyway, I am so thankful, grateful for you and all of the fantastic information that you share with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on. We have a really special man, and I'm going to go ahead and just jump in and add him right here, right now.
Oh, wonderful.
Take over our screen. This is Tuskegee Airman Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson. Let's see. And his first name is Alexander Jefferson. And he was with the 332nd Fighter Group. He was honored on Monday on the same field where when he was a child, he actually used to play with his toys on this field. And then he became this absolutely inspirational, incredible man who was presented with the key to Detroit. And they were thrilled to be able to honor him, of course. He's one of their own. He's a hero, and he helped win World War II. And when he returned, he changed lives in that area, became a beloved teacher, assistant principal, and endured a lot of what so many of the other servicemen did. And Tuskegee Airmen were absolutely incredible. And 1944, he graduated from pilot training course at Tuskegee Army Airfield. And he went on to be a fighter pilot. He was a P-51 fighter pilot, and with the Red Tail 332nd Fighter Group and the 103rd Fighter Squadron out of Italy. And I mean, we're so fortunate to have someone of his caliber and inspiration. I mean, what an amazing man! What an amazing man!
Wow.
So let me go ahead, and I think we'll bring on. Dr. Sanchez again, and we'll bring Stephen too.
Hey, Steve. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah. So, oops. I guess he's not going to come in. We're going to have to hide. We're going to have to hide our Tuskegee Airmen. Let's see. There we go. We have everybody.
There we are.
Now. So, I mean, just incredible to think 100 years old, still inspiring the community. I mean, I don't know. I just am so inspired by somebody who's 100 years old standing and receiving his award.
Yeah.
Incredible. Oh, I think Dr. Sanchez is still muted, so let me unmute him.
There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Incredible. That's what I was saying. It was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Have you ever been to the Air Museum over in Palm Springs?
No,
I have not.
I have not.
They have a whole section devoted to the Tuskegee Airmen. They have one of their planes. They also have a whole area devoted to the women in aeronautics, and Jackie Cochran and some of the other ladies, a personal friend of our family, Teresa Martin. Just amazing. And I think there were probably 3 or more Tuskegee Airmen that came out here to Pasadena. And we had several in our area. I don't know if we still have, how many we still have left, but they were a big influence here in our community as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they were actually part of the Rose Parade one year as well, if I recall correctly.
They were. Yeah. And you know what? We've also had women in air also in the Rose Parade. Mr. McCullough knows a little bit about that, having been in the tournament as a chair for so long. So any other
24 years.
Yeah. Any other great surprises? Any other fun things that we should know about for the coming parade?
Well, if I told you, they won't be surprised.
Well, they're general announcements. They're general announcements, but people may not have heard the announcements.
I can't think of anything offhand. I mean, the parade will look a little different. We won't, unfortunately, have international bands performing, but we'll have more equestrian units, which are a favorite of mine, and more bands from within the United States. So there will be a couple surprises. Typically, we do some special things, and we're going to do more of those special things this year. And I'm just excited just to have a parade and have a game and and start planning for that.
Yeah, and we have some honorees being inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Rose Bowl.
We do. We have Jim Delaney, who was the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference for a number of years. Was a big fan of the tournament, the Rose Bowl, the Rose Parade. Our Rose Bowl game is a 2-anchor bowl, meaning that we have both teams. We have commitments from conferences to participate. Most bowl games are a 1-anchor team. So, for instance, the Sugar Bowl, their anchor conference is the SEC. So the SEC champion plays in the Sugar Bowl against an opponent to be named. The Rose Bowl is the Big Ten champion and the Pac-12 champion. And Jim Delaney was a big proponent of that and big advocate of that. So he's going into the Hall of Fame. Anthony Davis, who was a star running back at USC back in the early 70s, is also going into the Hall of Fame. He played with Sam Cunningham and John McKay, Coach John McKay, and one of the teams that's arguably the best college football team ever.
Yeah, amazing.
That. And then Ron Simpkins, who is a linebacker at the University of Michigan, is also going in. And Ron played in the mid to late 70s, and for a number of years was the all-time leading tackler in Michigan history, which says a lot when you consider how many great defensive players have come out of that university. So I think up until about 10, maybe 12 years ago, when his record was broken, he held that record for a number of years and is considered arguably one of the greatest linebackers ever at University of Michigan. So those are 3 inductees. We're very excited to have them come out, and have a great luncheon planned with them and some other fun activities that Mary's working on. So
surprise.
Sounds
great. Sounds great. Okay, so let's wrap up really fast. What are you grateful for? Everybody in the audience, think about what you're grateful for today too. But I am super grateful for just the most basic of things. I mean, we're so fortunate to have great resources in our community, and I'm lucky to have a roof over my head and have great friends and people who just care about me, and I am so fortunate. So
Melinda.
Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Is Melinda still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Ladies first.
You want to hear what I'm grateful? I'm grateful for, this is going to sound cliche, my health, for being able to do all the things that I want to do. Because I'm healthy and I feel good. And I'm grateful for the connections that we have between people, and that we're now able a little bit to be able to connect with one another in real life, because I think that that's so important, to be able to spend time with one another in person, especially this holiday season. So I'm very grateful about that.
Nice. Great.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm grateful for science and vaccines that allow us to get back out into the real world. I'm grateful that, the people I've loved taken advantage of that, and we were able to get together safely this year versus last year, where we were just kind of dropping food off at people's front doors and then running away. So I'm really grateful that we are able to actually have Thanksgiving this year because of, the precautions that we've taken. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I am thankful for health as well. I know that it's really the simple things that that you just appreciate. I think people have grown to appreciate more over the last 18 months, but my health, having a roof over my head, having food on my plate, and the opportunity to spend time with family, another opportunity to spend time with my mom and my dad that, although they're not old, tomorrow's never promised to us. So to be able to spend, another holiday with them and my brother and his wife, very thankful for that.
Yeah, I know. It really is great to be with people. I really have to say, it's been really special. So thank you all for being on the program today. And anybody who's watching, thank you so much. And we hope you have a fantastic holiday. And call us if you need anything. We're here for you. And I'm going to go
Before we leave, Mary, today is National Play Monopoly Day. So
okay. So maybe we can play Monopoly at our Thanksgiving table.
That'd be so much fun.
There you go.
With family after drinks.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Sounds great. All right.
All right,
Have a great day.
Happy
Thanks, everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.